Hegseth also announcing today yet another strike specifically targeted at a vessel he says was operated by the Venezuelan criminal group Tren de Aragua, or TDA.
Yeah, so, I mean, it seems like every single day lately there's been some new component to this, right? So the new one about the strike we learned about early this morning was that it was the first nighttime strike. It was against TDA, as you mentioned. But this week we've seen a real escalation in these strikes.
Adding that all 6 individuals on the boat were killed. Joining me now is NBC News Senior National Security Correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, thanks so much for being here. As always, what do you make and what is your reporting telling you about these latest escalations?
You clicked for the standoff. This is it. We'll walk you through the Gravely's escalation ladder from the first radar spike to the 5-inch gun traverse, the MH-60R launch, and the ROE checkpoints that kept a gray zone shove from becoming a missile exchange. What cue tipped the call? The drone, the decoy, or the spike? Stay, and you'll learn the exact decision tree that turns restraint into combat power.
The Pentagon continues to ratchet up pressure on Venezuela, with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing today a major show of military force in the region. It comes after the U.S. military flew 2 B-1 bombers near the coast of Venezuela yesterday, according to a defense official. Meanwhile, the military strikes targeting alleged drug cartel boats in the Caribbean continue to escalate. In a post on social media, Secretary Hegseth saying he ordered the deployment of the USS Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group to the Southern Command Area of responsibility, which includes Venezuela.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Not just the location, with 2 of them being in the Eastern Pacific, but also more frequent. I mean, we are seeing them on a near daily basis over the last week. And there's also increasing pushback from the region about it. The Colombian president has been very outspoken. The carrier strike group going there, that is an enormous move by the U.S. military to send an entire carrier strike group that was deployed to the European command area in the Mediterranean in opposition to these strikes, and including saying that the United States has murdered Colombian citizens in some of these strikes. So we are seeing a real escalation, as you mentioned now.
The plot twist isn't the boats, it's the clock. You get 90 seconds. Why does that window decide if a warning stays a warning, or turns into a war? At 5:32 a.m., the bridge has a clean but crowded picture. 3 fast surface contacts at 28 to 29 knots. Bearing in from the southwest, nose on, toward a U.S. destroyer sitting guard on a trade artery worth trillions. The watch team calls out range cuts. The helmsman keeps a steady course to deny them an easy read. Every second shrinks the sea, but then a radar spike hits the scope and the room tightens. ESM whispers about emitters that don't match the routine coastal sweep.
What do you make of that? Have they provided any evidence of that?
That is the most remarkable part about all of this, is there has not been evidence beyond these very heavily edited videos provided by the U.S. government and then any information they choose to put out.
It's notable, Court, that in this latest instance, you have the defense secretary saying we're targeting the gang Tren de Aragua. We hear the president, the administration talk quite a bit about this group.
Members of Congress have been complaining about this. President Trump yesterday, when we were sitting here on set, actually said, look, we're going to go to the Hill. Secretary Hegseth is going to give them more information. Fine, we'll give them what they want since there's so much complaining going on.
A small drone flickers onto the plot like a gnat at the fringe of the umbrella. Voice calls go out on the guard channel. The reply is static and clipped phrases that don't commit. You've got 3 cues. Only one might be hostile. Pick wrong, and you write the incident report in blood. So you fall back on the machine and the net. SPS-67 surface search feeds the Combat Information Center with crisp tracks. SLQ-type ears feed the electronic picture. What's loud, what's quiet, what changes. Link tracks slide in from allies and the air wing, adding color to the grayscale. An MH-60R spools and lifts, sliding out to the right side to get standoff eyes, optics, and radar looking back into the sun line. The Combat Systems Threat Library chews the inputs and throws a yellow flag, a return pattern that mimics a missile seeker but lacks the telltale rhythm. Not confirmation. Not comfort either. Rules of engagement do not care about adrenaline. They ask for plain things in a hard moment. First, positive ID, what is it, not what you fear it is. Second, hostile intent indicators, coarse lines that cut across your bow, laddered speed changes, active targeting beams. Third, proportional response, match the tool to the threat, don't outrun the problem with a hammer blow. And the commander's critical information requirements sit like a checklist you can't skip. Are they armed? Are they coordinated with air or shore? What is the nearest threat axis? Each box eats your 90 seconds. Each box also protects you from a mistake you can't walk back. Meanwhile, the clutter grows. The boats shed what looks like chaff-like haze, small metallic confetti that blooms and fades on the scope. Comms start to smear, not a blackout but a haze that adds lag and doubt to every call. The drone parks just outside a clean intercept queue for the hello. Close enough to watch, far enough to force patience. That is gray zone craft, make you fight your own rules. The captain draws a line with steel, not fire. He orders the Mk-45 5-inch to traverse to bear, barrel steady on the lead boat. That is a sentence the other side can read. The Seahawk leans out to bracket them, one eye on the drone, one on the wake patterns, ready to call a nose-high surge that telegraphs a rocket or a ramming run. EW stays cold but keyed, fingers on the switch, emissions held to deny them a better look at your heartbeat. Why do the boats tighten up at that standoff? They want mutual eyes, 3 sets of optics and handheld sensors cross-checking. They want psychological mass, 3 hulls in a line look bigger than they are. And they want to force you into a binary, show a weapon, or look like you blinked. It's a street corner move at sea. The break comes from discipline, not luck. Gun to bear, hello up, voice on radio stays calm and exact, course, range, intention stated without heat. The watch team opens clear lanes so no one masks the fields of fire. The contacts edge off, speed easing, formation loosening, drone drifting away like a kite with no wind. You kept it non-kinetic by doing, not waiting. Restraint is an action sequence. The echo lingers, though. Markets dip on early screens as traders sniff risk along the route. Allied nets light up with quiet pings, watching for copycat moves downrange. And a faint sub-echo fades in the deep, logged, tagged, and handed to intel for later. That is how a handful of tactical minutes ripple out across a region. That is why the ladder exists, to hold the line without crossing it, and to buy you the next clean minute. Patience wins in the gray zone when it carries teeth. You saw it, sensor fusion tight as a net, ROE followed without flinch, and a clear signal of readiness that deterred without a shot. That is dominance, steady, armed, and precise. Now it's your call. In those 90 seconds, what would you have put first? Gun, hello, or EW? Comment your choice below, and subscribe if you want the tactical mindset that wins these minutes. Your answer trains your eye for the next contact. The next test won't match this one. The ladder holds when crews drill, allies sink, and the message stays consistent.